Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. The handsome middle-aged man in the silver battlesuit's eyes flashed, and his left hand lightly tapped the transparent glasses on the bridge of his nose. Starry Sky combat power is worth 153 points? Is it still level 9? The handsome middle-aged man frowned slightly. When did the Red Eye Star Thief group have members of the 9th level? Did you just join? At this moment, the speed of the figure in his field of vision suddenly became faster and faster. It was about to turn into a golden streamer. And the breath on his body is also rapidly expanding and climbing like a flaming fireball. The virtual value marked on the golden streamer that the handsome middle-aged man saw through his glasses began to jump wildly. From the original 153, it soared to thousands in an instant. A slightly surprised look appeared on the handsome middle-aged man's face. The 9th level can reach thousands of Starry Sky combat power? It's a bit interesting, no wonder it was recruited by Qitong. And this surprise quickly thickened in a very short period of time. Because the Starry Sky combat power value that belongs to the golden streamer in his field of vision is still skyrocketing wildly. From thousands, quickly jumped to 10,000. And then 50,000. 70,000. 90,000. When the combat power value was approaching 99,999 rapidly, the golden streamer became more and more bright. Finally, the value displayed in the glasses, Qian Wanghao, suddenly exceeded 100,000. Then quickly reset to 0. This seems to herald the breach of a certain threshold. The transparent glasses make a drop one by one sound. At this time, the handsome middle-aged man was also completely moved by it, and there was an indescribable deep shock in his eyes. Over 100,000 star power values. Break the limit once. Level 9. His whole person seemed to be a little dazed, a little unbelievable, and even couldn't help but cry out. Can the 9th level also reach a combat power limit? What a Starry Sky joke. And the answer to him was a golden meteor that had already bullied him. Among the meteors, a handsome man with gorgeous golden lines all over his body was raising his hand and punching him. This punch hits. The void collapsed directly downwards, bursting out countless black shredded stars. Not only that, but a whole 20 rounds of burning golden sun suddenly appeared around the handsome middle-aged man. These 20 rounds of great suns surround others. A huge furnace was formed, exuding extremely terrifying heat, eroding towards him. The 5th season of ancient times. Heaven and earth baking furnace rain. Break my ship. You have to pay Lao Tzu. Boom. One by one. 5 seasons boxing. Fist pushes the ancients, magic shows myth. This 11th level boxing and martial arts, the original ultimate is the same day for 10 days, to reproduce the cruel scene of the 5th season of ancient times in mythology. And after Lu Shang received Wang He's 15th level inheritance of the Way of the Stars. The upper limit of 5 seasons boxing has also been broken. Beyond antiquity. Subvert the myth. The limit of this boxing technique has been deduced to the point where hundreds of millions of stars hang together, and countless golden crows sing together, emitting light and heat. Enough to burn an entire star field. I can only evolve 20 great suns now. Above, there are hundreds of great suns, thousands of great suns, 10,000 great suns, hundreds of millions of great suns. Every round of the great sun breeds the 3-legged golden crow. Until, punch out the entire sun god realm. That will be the 5th season of the Starry Sky, burning the robbery of an entire star field. Lu Shang's eyes were filled with golden fire, and there seemed to be a golden crow fluttering his wings in his chest, causing his neck to growl. He punched the handsome middle-aged man in the silver battle suit in front of him. At this moment, he punched the big day. Like the master of all light and heat in this starry sky. Boom. The 20-round sun revolved rapidly around the handsome middle-aged man, exuding endless terrifying heat that burned the void. These 20 rounds of Great Sun are wrapped around the 21st round of Great Sun. That is Lu Shang's fist. The handsome middle-aged man was shocked and angry. He suddenly raised the long knife in his hand, and slashed at Lu Shang with one slash. This knife is like the aurora that cuts through the starry sky. Follow the rules and trajectories of the universe and starry sky. With a flat knife, the 3 golden suns in front of him were cut open, and it happened to be slashed on Lu Shang's fist, making a crisp sound of clang. Lu Shang closed his fists and looked at the flesh that had opened at the peak of his fist, and the bones of his fist that were almost cut to 973 knots at the wrist. His face was expressionless, as if it was not his own body that was injured. He shook his right hand gently, and the shocking scar on his right hand suddenly recovered as before. Lu Shang looked at the handsome middle-aged man in a silver battle suit in front of him. This handsome middle-aged man stood in the starry sky with a knife in one hand. His whole body exudes a terrifying aura of collapsing void, and every movement of his gestures seems to follow the rules of the natural operation of the universe. 11th grade. A real 11th level martial arts expert. He is hundreds of times more powerful than the man with red eyes who was beaten to death by him before. So far, among the opponents that Lu Shang has encountered, the strongest one. But so what? Lu Shang calmly said, even if you are an 11th level powerhouse, you have broken other people's things for no reason. You have to pay too. Done. The golden color in Lu Shang's eyes quickly faded, and a wavy layer of gray came up. After the 9th level, Lu Shang's first time. Enter Valkyrie state. Lu Shang's side was transformed quietly, while the handsome middle-aged man's side was a terrifying wave in his heart. Although he just slashed Lu Shang's fist with a knife, the shock in his heart increased instead of diminishing. In front of this handsome young man like a god, he can be sure. The strength is clearly only 9th level. Because there is no trace of the power of heaven and earth in the opponent's body. This proves that he has not even reached the step of returning to the body. But it was just such a mortal body, but he was abruptly able to fight against him. With his 11th level, Baby rule, he could only slash into the opponent's body by less than half a foot. The martial arts of this handsome young man can almost be compared to an 11th level star weapon, reaching the level of a quasi-level 11th. Extraordinary life physique. And it is a very high-level extraordinary life physique. A voice in the middle-aged handsome man roared wildly. There is no second answer. Otherwise, it is impossible to explain how the other party carried his level 11 rule with his bare hands, and could still hit. A punch that breaks the limit. Unthinkable. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, if others had told him this, he must have slapped the man in the face. His boxing seems to have reached the level of touching the rules. The handsome middle-aged man's heart was agitated, and his face changed rapidly. He suddenly turned his head and ordered the 2 subordinates who were staring at him, go to Chitong's spaceship and investigate the identity of this person. The 2 subordinates who had been stunned before suddenly came to their senses. Immediately used the communicator to contact the colleagues on the silver spaceship. Not long after, thousands of people in blue and black battle suits appeared and swarmed towards the burning Demon Claw spacecraft in the distance. The handsome middle-aged man just turned his head after finishing his instructions. A sudden tightness of the scalp. Quickly looked up. I saw a figure whose whole body was more than 10 times brighter than before quietly appeared in front of him. From top to bottom, a punch hit him. On that fist. 30 miniature stars circled endlessly, and the outline of a 3-legged golden crow was vaguely conceived. The heaven and earth oven is wrapped in the outline of the 3-legged golden crow. The powerful force far surpassed the previous dozens of times, smashed the void, and came suddenly. The handsome middle-aged man's pupils contracted fiercely. This time, he saw it. In front of this handsome young man, his boxing skills really touched the rules. And not just touch. Buzz. A gap opened silently in the starry sky. A small dark blue ship slipped out of the breach. Inside the spaceship, Lan Chan and the gray-haired man stood in front of the console, staring intently at the scene ahead. Call one by one. Lan Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing the remaining distance marked on the star map, he said, "It can be counted. I swear, after I go back this time, I must change to a higher-level spaceship." Wei Xin, the spaceship agent of the star Z34548, owed me a favor 82 years ago and has yet to pay it back. He'll give me cheap. The gray-haired man automatically filtered out Lan Chen's nonsense and lowered his head to focus on his communicator. Soon, he raised his head and said to Lan Chen, "Our Lord Law Enforcer from Baiwu Star District has not arrived yet, but it seems that the Lord Law Enforcer from Yamu Star District has already arrived." Real? Lan Chen urged the spaceship, and after only 10 minutes of flying, a super-huge spaceship appeared in front of the two of them. This spaceship is hundreds of times the size of Lan Chen's Little Blue. It is silver-white and beautiful in shape, like an elegant white swan roaming the stars. The two immediately noticed the sign belonging to the Law Enforcement Department of the Sub-Jupiter region on the spacecraft. The Yamuxing district is really rich. I'm afraid I'll be fighting for this spaceship for the rest of my life. Even if everyone's favors are included, I can't afford it at all. Lan Chen looked at the magnificent spaceship in front of him and said with some envy, "If you break through level 11 and successfully run for the Law Enforcer, you can have one, and maybe even more beautiful than it," said the gray-haired man. Lan Chen smiled bitterly and said, "The chance may be slimmer than my winning the Star lottery jackpot." While the two were chatting, they suddenly saw a terrifying energy fluctuation coming from the front. I don't know how many kilometers this energy fluctuation spread, and it was transmitted to them, but it still shook the whole spacecraft. The battle between the 11th level powerhouses. Lan Chen and the gray-haired man all looked stunned and drove the spaceship to get closer. Soon, there was a lively scene between the two. Two powerful and incomparable figures were fighting fiercely. One is blazing and dazzling like a star, and the other is silvery and dazzling like a star. The battle between the two caused the void to collapse piece by piece, and huge black holes appeared in the star screen. The energy shock they felt before was emitted by the two of them. In the distance between the two of them, there was a spaceship that was surrounded by countless law enforcement fighters and was full of flames. It's the Magic Claw spaceship of the Qitong Star Thief Group. Even the spaceship was shot down. It seems that this time Qitong is really planted. The gray-haired man recognized the identity of the enclosed spaceship at a glance, and his expression was a little excited. His eyes fell back to the battle between the two nearby powers. The one in the silver battle suit should be the law enforcer from the Yamu planet area. Who was the one fighting him? The gray-haired man looked a little alarmed, and couldn't help but said, "The strength is almost not inferior to the law enforcer, and even faintly suppresses the law enforcer. It's terrifying." Could it be that he is also one of the members of Qitong? The two powerhouses who are fighting each other are wearing silver combat uniforms. The other one was young and handsome. His eyes are as indifferent as ashes, but his body is as dazzling as a star. His fists are full of indomitable tyranny and domineering, as well as inconceivable and wonderful tricks, which make people think of a planet that revolves and revolves with the gravitational force of the universe, which is beautiful and mysterious. He seems to be slightly less powerful than the enforcers. But unfortunately, the law enforcer with the knife was constantly forced to retreat under his fists, dodging. It seemed a little embarrassed. The gray-haired man stared at the man for a while, unable to guess his identity. Wanting to ask Lan Chen, he turned to look. However, he found that Lan Chen was standing there dumbfounded, his eyes fixed on the battle group. There was an unspeakable strange expression on his face. "What's wrong with you?" The gray-haired man couldn't help but ask. I saw Lan Chen turned his head blankly and looked at him with an expression he didn't know how to describe. Lan Chen said to him, "You slap me. Hit hard. I suspect I may be dreaming right now." The gray-haired man looked at Lan Chen, blinked his eyes, and was stunned. "Are you crazy?" The gray-haired man couldn't understand Lan Chen's words and deeds. Lan Chen was in a trance and murmured, "Maybe, I also think I might be crazy." The gray-haired man's eyes flashed, and he suddenly made up his mind. Shot hard. His palm directly tore black cracks in the air, and the strong wind brought by the force blew the many debris in the cockpit of the spacecraft into pieces. Then, in Lan Chen's unprepared, frightened and angry eyes, snapped. He slapped Lan Chen's handsome cheeks fiercely. Bang! Lan Chen flew straight out, smashing the outer shell of the spacecraft with a bang, leaving a large human-shaped hole in the cab wall and disappearing. After a few seconds, covering his cheek with one hand, Lan Chen with a gloomy face walked in again from the human-shaped hole. Zhao Lin. Lan Chen gritted his teeth and read out the name of the gray-haired man, his eyes almost spitting fire. The gray-haired man looked calm. You asked me to hit you. To be honest, I've never heard a similar request in my life. Lan Chen's face was twisted, and he said word by word, I told you to use your strength, but I didn't let you use your full strength. You have even used the 10th level martial arts that you are best at. Don't worry about those details anymore. The gray-haired man said with a serious face, tell me, what happened to you just now? Lan Chen was stunned for a moment, and then his expression became complicated. He put down his right hand covering his left face and walked slowly to the outside view window of the spacecraft. His eyes were fixed on the battle group in the distance for a long time. Then he suddenly pointed to one of the figures, and said to the gray-haired man in an inexplicable tone, if I tell you, the person who is fighting against the law enforcers in the Yamu Star District is Lu Shang. Do you believe? The gray-haired man frowned, who? Lan Chen didn't speak, but the gray-haired man suddenly remembered the identity represented by the name Lu Shang. I remembered who they were in such a hurry this time. You're kidding me. He called out directly, you said that the person who put the 11th level law enforcer in the Yujuzing district at a disadvantage. Is that the first level resource star native genius Lu Shang you mentioned to me before? Lan Chen stared at the battle group in the distance with bewildered eyes, and murmured, that's why I want to know if I'm dreaming. Before I saw Lu Shang, he was only level 8, but now he is level 9 at most. How can the 9th level fight the 11th level? The gray-haired man thought it was a joke at first, but he followed Lan Chen's gaze and stared at the figure for a long time. The look on his face is getting bigger and bigger. In the end, it was almost a deep shock and shock. 9th level. The person who fought against the Yamuxing district law enforcement officer is really only 9th level. The gray-haired man turned his head to look at Lan Chen in disbelief. The closer their spaceships were to the battle group, the more clearly they could see the warring parties. That young stalwart, with a dazzling body like a star, really only has the 9th level of martial arts. His martial body has almost no traces of being washed by the power of heaven and earth, and he is full of unrivaled mighty power. It's all just from the flesh. Within his body. As if there is a living star. Extraordinary life physique. That is the power of extraordinary life physique. His boxing is also very familiar, but far more sophisticated than what I saw last time. That's right, whether I'm dreaming or not. That person is really Lu Shang. Lan Chen murmured a long sentence, looking in a trance. And the gray-haired man's expression at this time is not much better than his. The whole person was stunned, completely unable to digest this huge impact that almost broke his martial arts knowledge. If it is really Lu Shang, the 9th level can face the 11th level, then his extraordinary life physique level. What level should it be? Lan Chen suddenly said something coldly, and looked at the gray-haired man with a faint look in his eyes. The gray-haired man also turned to look at him. The two looked at each other, and a word came into their minds almost at the same time. Sunday grade. Luminous sun is extraordinary. My white mist star district has only appeared once in the history, one luminous sun.